Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, Silent Hill F's release date has officially been revealed. I've been avoiding talking about it just because I feel like a lot of the videos popping up have been fake or clickbait to the point where there is literally nothing to report. They literally just pull stuff out of their behinds. However, this one piqued my interest because I watched it in real time. I didn't have the time to rewind and overanalyze things, so original video will be in the description, of course, because I will probably never notice these things. I need someone to point them out to me. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Out of nowhere, Silent Hill F makes an abrupt but welcome appearance at the recent State of Play. In this short 3-minute trailer, we get lots of new details and footage on the story, gameplay, and most importantly, the official release date. We will analyze and go in depth into the
which I am shocked that it is this year. Maybe it'll get delayed, I'm not sure. I haven't heard a lot of news on that, but it's obvious they want to release it before GTA 6.
release trailer to see what new information we can gather and speculate what potentially could be in store when it comes to the relationship with Hinako and her friends, the emphasis on melee combat, and the inspiration that is pulled from Japanese folklore, before the imminent release that will launch later this year in September. At the beginning of the trailer, we once again see the main protagonist, Hinako. Hinako walks in the neighborhood of her hometown, Ebisugaoka. She is called by her friend, Sakuko, asking her where she is off to, as she doesn't often get visitors around her neighborhood. Hinako mentions how she feels lonely and wants to talk to someone. Before she walks away, Hinako hears a faint voice comment that she's a traitor, presumably from Sakuko, as she walks away from the window with a slight smirk on her face as she laughs behind her back. What's interesting about this interaction between Hinako and Sakuko is how this correlates to the relationship she has with her friends that appears fake or estranged. It's implied from her friends that Hinako did something that made her friends resent and despise her. In the previous trailer, it expresses the theme of betrayal. Hinako's friends make the following comments, stating that friends don't last forever, they will betray you eventually, and just as they say, you betrayed them. This alludes to the idea.
I could also relay this back to how bad bullying is in Asia. I don't think it's limited just to Japan, I think it's also in Korea as well. I am really into true crime, and there are so many horror stories of just disgusting ways people have been bullied and physically harmed because of it. And I could see the main character being a victim of bullying more on the extreme end, potentially, because it definitely leaves a lot of trauma. Some of the bullying cases even went to court. If you don't know about that world, it's not for the faint of heart or the weak stomach, however. It is very, very bad in Asia.
Yeah, that Hinako did something that resulted in her relationship with her friends becoming strained. Either she did something to cause tensions to rise amongst her friends, or one of her friends did something to her, causing Hinako to retaliate for their betrayal. It's hard to have a definitive answer as to who exactly is in the wrong that caused the relationship between the friends to become fractured, and what caused this bad blood between them. Something of interest to note is the official Silent Hill F website describing Hinako's character biography, stating, "A teenage girl struggling under the pressure of expectations from her friends, family, and society. Cheerful and energetic as a child, she's grown to become much more restrained and now hardly smiles." With this context in mind, this could be closely associated with the strained relationship that she succumbed to with her friends. Afterward, we get another.
It also could just be the pressure of getting good grades in school, because obviously every parent wants their child to succeed. And in high school, it's kind of impossible not to feel that pressure, especially from your peers, if they do better than you consistently, you know? So I feel like it could also be that.
Another shot of the linear labyrinth-like alleyways of Ebisugaoka and the Fog Worlds. Scriptwriter Ryukishi07 mentions that the location was important for its maze-like alleyways and architecture. This not only ties to the direct inspiration behind the hometown, Kanayama-giro, for its historical accuracy, but also ties directly to the gameplay. Specifically the emphasis on combat that forces the player to be resourceful and manage in tight linear environments. This pays direct inspiration to the general gameplay philosophy.
The hell? My brain is so rotted, I thought that had something to do with the grimace shake.
That is typically seen in the previous Silent Hill games, making the player feel vulnerable and unable to breathe during stressful situations. We then get another frame of an interior inside one of the residents' houses, showing the red flowers. It was previously established that the red flowers have an underlying importance to the overall theme of finding beauty and terror, which is addressed to the contrast of the designs, music, and story in which the protagonist is faced with making a beautiful yet terrifying decision. Producer Motoi Okamoto stated that this ideology stemmed from an idea in Japanese horror that when something becomes too immensely beautiful and perfect, it instead becomes deeply unsettling. The red spider lilies, known officially as the Chorus radiata.
Man, hate to tie it into anime, but we see these a lot in more horror themed areas. You know, we're all thinking of the same scene. I'm not gonna say it, but if you know, you know.
Are commonly associated in Japanese or Chinese culture, strongly associated with the belief that these spirits undergo the cycle of the afterlife, reincarnation, and the passage of death. The Japanese term for the red flower lily, higanbana, can be traced back to historic times in Japanese culture during the Oigan, a tradition celebrated just before the autumn equinox, believed to guide the spirits of the departed to their next life, a time when families visit the graves of their ancestors, further solidifying their connection to the dead. Furthermore, during Ohigan, once the red spider lilies are ready to bloom, they are commonly believed to be located and sited in graveyards, but they are not found around tombstones because they're left as memorials. While the red spider lilies are associated with death, they're actually used as a poison to prevent disturbances by animals, possibly even grave robbers, to allow the deceased to peacefully pass on to the afterlife. This theme of red spider lilies directly correlates to Hinako, as she's associated with flowers. It can be speculated that Hinako, to some capacity, is a spirit that is trying to pass on from her death to enter the afterlife. This is supported by the comment her friend made, stating, "Hinako is dead, okay?" The journey Hinako embarks on is likely her trying to escape the other world, but because Silent Hill's supernatural and spiritual power manifests in the person's nightmarish delusions from their subconscious, it's possible Hinako is forced to make amends for her wrongdoings by having to undergo pain and suffering. Learning she eventually has to make the option that is a beautiful yet terrifying decision, implying the decision she makes determines the ending of the story. Hinako is then seen with her friend group, with one of her friends commenting on where the people in the town have disappeared to, and why there are monsters everywhere. This then sees Hinako and her friends running away from the violent fog. This shows that Hinako and her friends are trapped in the fog world, a physical plane of existence that borders reality and unreality,
The fog
derived
is
from those who are
coming!
sent to Silent Hill, which manifest their subconscious thoughts. This derives their guilt, fears, and trauma, associating these traits to pertain to the person in question through projecting their nightmarish delusions. In this context, Hinako's subconscious derives the aforementioned red flower lilies, possibly projecting her desire to escape from death to be reborn, either literally or figuratively speaking, into a reincarnated person, given the implications that she committed a sin, sparking resentment and a strained relationship in her friend group. Hinako's actions could also be seen as toxic, considering the red spider lilies are seen as poisonous. Metaphorically speaking, sees Hinako as a toxic friend who poisons those she's close to. Shortly after, Hinako is seen running.
God, that's... Can you imagine? If this is the baseline of the story and she's toxic and, you know, like, not only does she have that, she has her parents, her friend group constantly belittling her, and now this happens? This poor girl. Oh my
running off
god.
to an alleyway to escape the ever-growing fog that is polluting the town. She then encounters one of the monsters in-game that seems to manifest mannequin-like qualities, likely inspired by the Japanese folklore of the kune-kune. In Japanese urban legends, the kune-kune are depicted as slender, pale humanoid figures found in rice fields, described as having its limbs twisting or wiggling permanently. According to its legend, individuals who stare intently into the kune-kune will go insane. The kune-kune that Hinako manifests features mannequin-like qualities with noticeable flesh as it has stitch marks on its skin. Furthermore, the mannequins also exhibit contortion in their movements as they attack fast with their knife as their primary weapon, and possess the ability to jump long and high distances. During combat, we get to see Hinako in action, primarily equipped with a pipe, a staple weapon that is featured heavily in each subsequent entry of the Silent Hill games.
Is that gonna be enough though to fight like the final bosses? You just come around with a pipe? Like, that sounds kind of crazy.
It seems that Hinako can also push back the monsters when overwhelmed, giving her a moment to breathe to allow her to regain composure and prepare to either retreat or fight back. Interestingly, it seems that with each subsequent attack, the animation emits a vibration once Hinako lands a successful hit. We then see Hinako encounter one of the monsters in-game that encompasses a large amalgamation of flowers. It appears massive in its size, giving an intimidating appearance. It also has a sharp, tendril-like blade protruding out of its limb, and a large...
I don't want to say the H word on YouTube, but the fact it has the tentacle
that latches and grabs onto Hinako, throwing her violently to the ground. We then shift to Hinako awakening in a room with her friend locked in a cage, asking Hinako where she is as she cries. We then get another shift to Hinako, finding herself in a rice field covered in thick fog. In this rice field, we see more of the kune-kune, showing a field of multiple mannequin-like humanoid figures positioned in a scarecrow-like position. reinforcing the idea that the kune-kune serves as a direct inspiration given their abundance in the rice fields, expressing mannerisms that reflect those of mannequin-like qualities seen in their movement as they twist and wiggle. Interestingly, these monsters also appear in school uniforms, reflecting the students that Hinako went to school with. Supporting this is the scene where we see Hinako walking cautiously throughout the red-flowered, infested hallways. We see haunting visual imagery that harkens back to the beauty and terror motif, expressed in this disturbing, artistic rendition of her classmates.
I wonder why it only really attacked the students, because I've yet to see one single adult in not a school uniform so far. I'm just kind of, I'm fascinated. Why is it only attacking school kids?
Manifesting qualities of the kune-kune. After the short sequence where we see Hinako combating the monsters, we get a frame of the Shinto shrines, a sacred place of worship dedicated to the Shinto gods. Shortly after, we see Hinako wandering inside a dark temple, referred to in Japanese as Otara. In the final scene, we see Hinako walking cautiously, equipped with a spear. As she gets closer to the figure, she quietly comments to the figure as Sakugo, her friend who's seen previously at the beginning of the trailer. However, her friend appears drastically different compared to the last time Hinako saw her, as she has potentially become
she looks significantly taller and, I don't know, possessed?
A manifestation derived from the Japanese urban legend called the Onryo. The Onryo is seen in traditional Japanese culture as a vengeful spirit, corrupted with hatred and wrath.
I remember that from Dead by Daylight. Yo, I love Ringu. It's my favorite J-horror, for sure, without a doubt.
Taking harm to those in the world of the living. These individuals who become possessed as an Onryo are often byproducts of traumatic events that impacted them under tragic circumstances, warranting unresolved rage and resentment for those who wronged them. In doing so, the exact pleasure and satisfaction over letting their objects of their hatred live a long life of torment and suffering. This connects back to the resentment and strained relationship that Hinako experiences with her.
Oh, so she did do something. Oh, God. Okay. We're honestly playing the villain, if you think about it, but we're just being attacked for our sins, I guess.
Friend Sakugo, as she's referred to Hinako as a traitor. Sakugo's transformation of becoming an Onryo is likely due to her decision to harvest and feed off of Hinako's pain and suffering as an act of revenge for what Hinako did to her, which is up to interpretation as we will have to wait and see. Before the trailer ends, we get the reveal of the release date for Silent Hill F, slated for September 25th, 2025.
Yay! I'm so excited.
That is my thoughts and analysis of the release date trailer.
I didn't realize how much urban legend is involved in this story. Of course, original videos down in the description. You did such an amazing job explaining it to someone who literally has no idea what's going on or what she ate for lunch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Did you guys catch that? When were you guys gonna tell me? I'm kidding. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.